The story begins with Lin Wei, a young billionaire heir. Disillusioned by the cutthroat world of business after his mother's death, Lin Wei decides to leave everything behind to pursue spiritual training in the mountains, against his father's wishes. His father, a powerful businessman, is deeply troubled by this decision. The thought of leaving the vast family fortune without an heir leaves him in utter despair. Amid the turmoil, a young woman named Su Shiryu unexpectedly enters the scene. Shiryu is rushing to work when she steps into an elevator that suddenly malfunctions. In her panic, her hand accidentally brushes against Lin Wei. Nervously apologizing, she grows more anxious, fearing she'll be late for work. Fortunately, a technician arrives and assures them the elevator will soon be fixed. However, impatient to get out, Shiryu decides to climb out of the elevator. She seeks Lin Wei's help, and after some hesitation, the young man assists her. Grateful, Shiryu thanks him, calling him a kind person. Not long after, their paths cross again at a bus stop. Shiryu once more thanks Lin Wei for his help earlier, though he remains mostly silent. By coincidence, they board the same bus and end up sitting next to each other. While on the bus, Shiryu receives a phone call. The caller mentions that director Lin has a significant weakness. His only son has left to pursue a spiritual life in the mountains. Unaware that the man sitting beside her is Lin Wei, the very son of director Lin, Shiryu continues her conversation. Meanwhile, Shiryu faces a new challenge at work. After pouring her heart into a proposal for a major client, she's informed that her proposal resembles one submitted by someone else, none other than her best friend, Chen Xiang. Shiryu is devastated to realize that Chen Xiang has stolen her creative ideas. The ordeal isn't over, as the client's final decision rests in the hands of director Lin. Determined to salvage her project, Shiryu devises a plan to speak directly with director Lin. While leaving the office, she overhears a conversation among the clients, giving her a glimmer of hope. However, her attempt to approach director Lin leads to an unintended consequence. Her presence distracts the director, causing him to miss an opportunity to persuade his son, Lin Wei, to abandon his spiritual journey. Furious, director Lin blames Shiryu for the lost chance. Despite this setback, Shiryu refuses to give up. Through a series of clues, Shiryu learns that director Lin is heading to Wuning Mountain Village. Determined to speak with him, Shiryu boards a bus to the mountain. Unbeknownst to her, Lin Wei overhears her conversation with a colleague about her plan. This fuels Lin Wei's growing dislike for her. The situation worsens when Shiryu accidentally spills tea seeds that Lin Wei had just purchased. These seeds hold sentimental value for him, as they are from his late mother's favorite tea, which he planned to grow in her memory. Although Shiryu offered to help, Lin Wei coldly refused. The seeds were too precious to him, as he had worked hard to find them to fulfill his late mother's dream. Even when Shiryu apologized, Lin Wei remained indifferent. When Shiryu slipped and twisted her ankle while hiking up the mountain, Lin Wei merely glanced at her without any intention of helping. However, amidst her despair, Lin Wei suddenly handed her a pair of shoes as a gesture of aid. This small act gave Shiryu a moment of solace. With the shoes on, Shiryu finally managed to meet director Lin. Shiryu eagerly presented her proposal to director Lin. However, the director was in no mood to listen. He had just exhausted every effort to convince Lin Wei to return to the city and take over the family business. Yet, Lin Wei stubbornly insisted on focusing solely on planting tea and showed no interest in managing the company. Director Lin was furious, questioning whether Lin Wei wanted to let the Lin family legacy crumble. But Lin Wei firmly declared he would not leave the mountain until he successfully planted the tea his mother had dreamed of. Frustrated by his son's refusal, director Lin dismissed Shiryu's proposal, forcing her to leave in disappointment. As Shiryu walked away, it started to rain. Worried about her limited edition bag getting wet, she covered it with a plastic bag. But Lin Wei approached, tore the plastic away, and declared it was needed for the tea seeds, ignoring her concerns about her bag's vulnerability to water. To make matters worse, Shiryu accidentally stepped on a nail, injuring her foot. Lin Wei soon returned with an umbrella and, without saying much, carried Shiryu to his wooden cabin. There, he not only lent her dry clothes, but also tended to her wound with antiseptic. While bandaging her foot, he inadvertently applied too much pressure, causing Shiryu to reflexively kick him in the face. Embarrassed, she quickly apologized. The unexpected closeness between them caused their hearts to race. This moment happened to be witnessed by director Lin, who had just returned. The sight gave him a sliver of hope that there might still be a solution to his family's problems. That night, Shiryu, staying in the cabin, couldn't sleep due to hunger. She decided to drink hot water, only to find it cold. Desperate, she tore a few pages from a book to make a fire. Suddenly, Lin Wei appeared, snatching the book away in anger and demanding she leave the mountain by morning. Realizing her mistake, Shiryu, still limping, apologized and promised to replace the book. As she turned to go back inside, she spotted a snake and screamed in terror, collapsing onto the floor. Panicked, Shiryu begged Lin Wei to get rid of the snake. In the midst of the chaos, she vented her frustration, confessing that she had come to the mountain to meet director Lin after her best friend had stolen her idea. Now, she felt trapped in this place, and what frustrated her most was the man standing before her had never been nice to her. After waiting all night, morning finally came. With her ankle still sore, Shiryu began descending the mountain. Along the way, she encountered director Lin, who offered her a ride and an unexpected opportunity. At that moment, director Lin proposed that if, within a month, Shiryu could convince his son to return to the city, the annual business contract would be hers. Shiryu was shocked by such an offer. However, upon realizing who director Lin's son was, she was even more surprised. She asked if Lin Wei was indeed his son, recalling all the tension and disagreements between them. Director Lin laughed and pointed out that Shiryu had stayed at his son's place the night before. Embarrassed, Shiryu hurriedly explained that it was a misunderstanding and nothing had happened. But director Lin just smiled knowingly, teasing her that he understood the ways of the younger generation. He encouraged her to use any means necessary to bring Lin Wei back to the family business, assuring her that everything would work out fine. Shiryu felt conflicted and needed time to reconsider this request. Encouraged by her friends, Shiryu regained her confidence. She resolved to succeed in bringing the young heir back to the city. Seeking help from her roommate, Shiryu gathered critical information. It turned out Lin Wei was a remarkable individual, with numerous achievements from a young age, including a third-degree black belt in karate and a feature in prestigious magazines. However, his one flaw was his lack of time for dating. Using this knowledge, Shiryu's friend discovered that director Lin and his son were planting trees that day. Sure enough, when Shiryu arrived, she found director Lin and Lin Wei engrossed in their work. Without wasting any time, Shiryu approached director Lin to present her plan. Unfortunately, the area had no signal, leaving her plan in awry. Director Lin, however, handed her a laptop and a shovel, telling her it was now her turn to contribute. Left with no choice, Shiryu gathered her courage and approached Lin Wei. She began by sincerely apologizing, admitting there were things she had said before that were inappropriate and hoping he wouldn't take them to heart. She then earnestly invited Lin Wei to join her for a meal, but he paid her no attention. Frustrated, Shiryu picked up the shovel and walked away, accidentally hitting Lin Wei on the head. Panicked and full of guilt, Shiryu rushed to his side and placed a bandage on his injury. As she turned to look at him, their eyes met, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. In the middle of this quiet moment, a female staff member suddenly called out for director Lin, breaking the silence. This interruption angered director Lin, who snapped at her for ruining the romantic atmosphere between his son and Shiryu. He even remarked that if it weren't for her father being an old friend, he would have fired her. The assistant stood there, utterly confused, not knowing what mistake she had made. Seeing some progress, director Lin urged Shiryu to keep trying and assured her that as long as Lin Wei came down from the mountain, he would immediately sign the contract with her. Determined to seize this opportunity, Shiryu decided to persist. However, Lin Wei still hadn't shown up. Waiting in the car, Shiryu grew restless and decided to step out for a walk. When Shiryu turned around, she spotted Lin Wei. In a rush, she dashed back to the car to fix her makeup. Afterward, she called out to him and offered to give him a ride home, but Lin Wei coldly refused, stating he could walk on his own. Despite being ignored, Shiryu refused to give up. The next day, she enlisted her friend's help and returned to the mountain, this time fully prepared. She brought a tent and enough supplies to last a month, determined to outlast Lin Wei. Shiryu resolved not to leave until she succeeded. When Lin Wei stepped out of his house, Shiryu quickly intercepted him, announcing that she was camping right in front of his home. Claiming it was a coincidence and perhaps destiny, she tried to lighten the mood. However, Lin Wei didn't believe a word she said and saw her persistence as an annoyance. Resigned, he reluctantly invited her for a meal. During dinner preparations, Shiryu applied lipstick before sitting down to eat. Jokingly, she remarked that lipstick was her favorite food seasoning, explaining that a woman without lipstick felt like she wasn't fully dressed. Lin Wei, however, noticed the lipstick marks left on her cup and couldn't hide his irritation. He pointed out that lipstick would fade during meals, yet Shiryu insisted on wearing it regardless. Lin Wei criticized her stubbornness and even questioned her ability to survive in the mountains. Shiryu confidently retorted that she was skilled at enduring tough situations. However, when she bit into a piece of the mountain's hard, bitter bread, she couldn't hold back her discomfort and quickly gulped down water to wash away the taste. Lin Wei watched her with a challenging gaze. Amid her struggle, Shiryu's roommate, Ruan, called and noticed that her progress on the mountain wasn't going well. Ruan sent Shiryu a guide to winning someone's heart, instructing her to follow the steps to capture Lin Wei's affection. Without hesitation, Shiryu put the plan into action. She pretended to stumble into Lin Wei and pressed her ear to his chest, claiming to listen to his heartbeat. However, the attempt failed miserably. Realizing her failure, Shiryu tried another tactic by pretending to run into Lin Wei coincidentally. She asked if he was there to argue with her, but Lin Wei calmly replied that he knew about her agreement with his father and advised her not to waste her time on something futile. Despite Lin Wei's attempt to discourage her, Shiryu firmly declared that as long as Lin Wei stayed on the mountain, she would continue to pursue him. The next day, Shiryu heard that Lin Wei was coming down from the mountain and heading to the city. Hoping to catch him, she planned to wait at the base of the mountain to offer him a ride. However, Lin Wei chose to take the bus rather than use Shiryu's car. When Lin Wei finally arrived at the bus stop, he was met with a problem. The bus was broken, and the driver told him he would need to wait for the next one. Pressed for time, Lin Wei had no choice but to accept a ride in Shiryu's car. Noticing that Lin Wei seemed to be softening toward her, Shiryu felt her efforts were beginning to pay off. She saw this as the perfect opportunity to continue her strategy. Every morning, Shiryu borrowed hot water from Lin Wei and listened to the lessons taught by the village elder. Knowing Lin Wei didn't have a good relationship with the villagers, Shiryu made efforts to bond with them. One evening, Shiryu organized a barbecue for the villagers, presenting it as a gesture of gratitude from Lin Wei. Her plan worked to some extent. The villagers started warming up to Lin Wei, and the atmosphere became friendlier. Shiryu was proud of her accomplishment, but things took an unexpected turn when she drank too much and became heavily intoxicated, a first for her. In her drunken state, Shiryu suddenly kissed Lin Wei, leaving the man, who had never been in a romantic relationship, feeling flustered and uneasy. After ensuring Shiryu was all right, Lin Wei went to the river early the next morning to bathe in the cold water, hoping to clear his mind. When Shiryu woke up and found Lin Wei missing from his room, she panicked and began searching for him all over the village. Even the village elder hadn't seen him that day. With no phone to contact him, Shiryu resorted to shouting Lin Wei's name across the mountain. Eventually, Shiryu found Lin Wei by the river. Excited, she tried to take a photo of him, but Lin Wei attempted to grab her phone, resulting in a small scuffle. During the commotion, Shiryu accidentally fell on top of Lin Wei. Unfortunately, a village woman witnessed the scene. Later, as Lin Wei was heading home, the woman stopped him and accused him of pretending to be innocent. She remarked on his calm and modest demeanor, but implied he wasn't as simple as he appeared. Lin Wei was left confused by her comments until she explained what she had seen. Though Lin Wei didn't think much of it, rumors about him and Shiryu quickly spread throughout the village. The gossip soon reached the ears of the village chief, who couldn't stay silent any longer. The chief confronted Lin Wei, accusing him of damaging the village's moral fabric and demanding that he leave immediately. Already feeling uneasy, Lin Wei's mood worsened further. When he returned home, He found Shiryu cooking and noticed a basket full of duck feathers. Furious, Lin Wei immediately kicked Shiryu out of his house. Meanwhile, Shiryu learned from her friend that her landlord was demanding rent and her company was facing financial difficulties. This left her no choice but to work even harder and consider leaving the mountain. However, she decided to try winning Lin Wei's heart by first appealing to his stomach. Shiryu prepared egg-wrapped rice and climbed the mountain again to see Lin Wei. But Lin Wei's anger hadn't subsided. He refused to see her, let alone touch the food she brought. Disheartened, Shiryu ate the meal herself and drank an excessive amount of alcohol. In her drunken state, Shiryu knocked on Lin Wei's door, challenging him to talk things through. She taunted him, saying he was afraid of losing their bet, which was why he wouldn't open the door. It turned out that on the day they planted trees together, they had made a bet. On their way back, Shiryu had bet that Lin Wei was just an ordinary man and that eventually, Lin Wei would fall for her. At the time, Lin Wei had laughed it off, not taking her words seriously. But now, without realizing it, his mind was constantly filled with thoughts of their interactions. Feeling the need to keep his distance from Shiryu, Lin Wei tried to avoid her. Yet Shiryu persisted, leaving him no room to breathe. In frustration, Lin Wei offered her a deal. However much money his father had promised her, he would double it if she left him alone. This statement infuriated Shiryu. Feeling insulted, she retorted that Lin Wei shouldn't think he was any better than her just because he was born into a wealthy family. With those words, she stormed off angrily. But suddenly, she was overcome with a sharp pain in her stomach. Seeing her in pain, Lin Wei had no choice but to take her to the hospital. However, instead of being grateful, Shiryu was cold toward him and even tried to send him away. As Lin Wei was about to leave, Shiryu grabbed his hand and pleaded for his help. It turned out that Chun Xiang, who had once stolen Shiryu's ideas, was at the same hospital with her boyfriend for treatment. Shiryu felt she couldn't lose to Chun Xiang. Despite her hunger, Shiryu remarked that she desperately wanted porridge. However, Lin Wei ignored her request and insisted on leaving. Pulling his hand away, Lin Wei walked off without looking back. Seeing this, Chun Xiang smirked, satisfied that she had once again easily outshined Shiryu. On his way back to the mountain, Lin Wei noticed a ribbon lying near his feet. Bending down to pick it up, he realized it was the same ribbon Shiryu had worn the first time she climbed the mountain. She had tied it as a symbol of her prayers during a moment of despair. Seeing the ribbon brought back memories, and Lin Wei decided to turn around and head back to Shiryu. Meanwhile, after completing her treatment, Shiryu made the difficult decision to pawn her beloved bag to save her company. The bag held significant sentimental value, as it had been a birthday gift bought by her friends. It also symbolized the promise they had made to build their small company together. Now, Shiryu was the only one left trying to keep it afloat. After pawning the bag, the first person Shiryu contacted was her friend, Shuyu. She knew Shuyu was planning to resign, and her heart felt heavy. At that moment, Shiryu tried to console Shuyu, urging him not to make a hasty decision and to carefully reconsider. She assured him that the company would recover once they overcame these challenges. Unbeknownst to her, Lin Wei, who had returned, overheard her words. Only then did he begin to understand the difficulties Shiryu was facing. On their way back, Shiryu sincerely apologized to Lin Wei, even promising never to eat duck again. As a gesture of her apology, she went to the market and bought a small duck to give to Lin Wei. In the end, Lin Wei allowed Shiryu to stay inside the house rather than in the tent outside. However, he made it clear that this decision was purely out of humanity, not because he was giving in or planning to leave the mountain. At that moment, Lin Wei emphasized once again that he had no intention of descending the mountain. Despite this, Shiryu remained determined, confident that she could find a way to change his mind. Not long after, Director Lin arrived to provide moral support for Shiryu. He encouraged her to do whatever it took to make Lin Wei leave the mountain, even if it meant destroying his tea plantation. Director Lin assured her that he would take full responsibility for the consequences. However, Shiryu knew that destroying Lin Wei's tea garden was not an easy decision. She remembered how devastated Lin Wei had been when his previous tea plantation was destroyed by the village chief and several villagers. Despite the opposition to tea planting in the area, Lin Wei had stood firm, rebuilding his plantation with unwavering determination. Faced with the same suggestion from director Lin, Shiryu couldn't bring herself to follow through. Instead, she devised another plan. Shiryu purchased several body warmers and pretended to have a high fever. When Lin Wei tried to give her medicine, she refused, claiming that medicine should not be taken recklessly. Left with no other option, Lin Wei used the aloe vera plants from his home to prepare a simple remedy to help reduce her fever. As Lin Wei noticed the redness on Shiryu's back, he began to question whether she truly had a fever. Shiryu, feeling confident her plan was working, believed victory was near. However, her carefully crafted scheme fell apart when a woman named Fay Fay arrived. Fay Fay, Lin Wei's childhood friend, had come specifically after hearing that his tea plantation had been destroyed. Apparently, Fay Fay offered to help him rebuild the garden. Fay Fay's arrival made Shiryu's mission to convince Lin Wei to leave the mountain even more challenging. Lin Wei, no fool, quickly realized the trick Shiryu was playing. He calmly removed all the body warmers from her bed, exposing her act. Shiryu was stunned to see her well-thought-out plan fail so easily. But Shiryu's troubles didn't end there. Fay Fay gathered a team of people to help Lin Wei rebuild his tea plantation. From a distance, Shiryu could only watch as they worked together seamlessly, wondering if all her efforts had been in vain because of this woman. The next morning, Lin Wei excitedly announced that the tea garden had been successfully rebuilt. Shiryu felt a wave of frustration, realizing that persuading Lin Wei to leave the mountain had now become an even greater challenge. While Shiryu was deep in thought in the courtyard, Shiryu appeared, suggesting they hold a farewell dinner. However, Shiryu firmly stated that she had no intention of leaving. Hearing this, Shiryu's disappointment turned into relief, knowing that Shiryu was staying. Soon after, Shiryu, who had previously planned to resign, suddenly changed his mind. Byron had informed him that Shiryu had sold her beloved bag to pay the workers' salaries. Touched by Shiryu's dedication, Shiryu decided to stay and support her. Shiryu, a food vlogger, then went live on her social media. During the broadcast, she accidentally spilled red wine on her dress. Shiryu quickly leaned down to clean the stain, an act that was caught on camera. Watching the live stream from the mountain, Lin Wei felt a pang of jealousy, but could do nothing except continue watching from afar. Later in the live stream, while tasting a second dish, Shiryu discovered a fly in her food. She immediately called the restaurant owner to question the cleanliness of the establishment. However, the owner denied the issue, accusing Shiryu of slandering the restaurant. The owner even demanded that Shiryu apologize. Fueled by her sense of justice, Shiryu argued with the owner during the live broadcast, comparing them to a coffee booth company she believed abused their wealth to act recklessly. Her viewers wholeheartedly supported her, with one even shouting that the restaurant was irresponsible. As the situation escalated, the restaurant owner tried to stop the live stream and force them to leave. Watching everything unfold, Lin Wei sprang into action. He contacted the local authorities and rushed down the mountain on his small electric scooter to pick up Shiryu. Lin Wei then brought Shiryu and Shiryu back to the mountain. Once there, Shiryu informed Lin Wei that Shiryu would be leaving the next day. For reasons he couldn't explain, Lin Wei felt unsettled by the news. Over the past few days, he had grown used to Shiryu's presence. Before her departure, Shiryu wanted to talk to Lin Wei. She encouraged him not to remain stuck in the past and reminded him that no matter what had happened, they must keep moving forward. The next morning, Shiryu received a call from director Lin asking her to come to the office. To her surprise, Chen Xiang was there as well. In front of director Lin and Zheng Zong, Chen Xiang brought up the livestream incident from the previous day. To ease the tension, Shiryu immediately apologized to director Lin, admitting she had spoken harshly while intoxicated and did not intend to harm the coffee booth's reputation. However, her apology was twisted by Zheng Zong, who used it as an excuse to terminate their partnership with Shiryu. He claimed that Shiryu was not suitable to collaborate with their company. Amid the tense atmosphere, Lin Wei entered the room. Director Lin instructed everyone to remain calm and wait for a final decision regarding the partnership. Lin Wei then voiced his opinion, explaining that Shiryu's live stream had not damaged the company, but instead increased its popularity, even landing them on trending lists. He argued that the company should continue working with Shiryu. Despite his reasoning, Zheng Zong remained adamant about choosing Chen Xiang over Shiryu. To resolve the conflict, Director Lin proposed a solution. Shiryu and Chen Xiang would compete through their respective projects. The one with the better result would be chosen for the partnership. After the meeting, Director Lin approached Shiryu in a much better mood. He revealed that his son, Lin Wei, had spoken up in Shiryu's defense, giving her the chance to participate in the competition. Smiling, Director Lin shared that before Lin Wei left for the mountain, he had promised to stay out of the company's matters. However, on that day, Lin Wei broke his own principle for Shiryu. When Shiryu asked why Lin Wei helped her, Director Lin responded with a knowing smile, saying that if it wasn't because Lin Wei liked her, he couldn't think of another reason. Touched by Lin Wei's support, Shiryu felt grateful. Later, Shiryu took Lin Wei to a store to buy him a new phone so they could stay in touch. Excitedly, she suggested they could do video calls whenever they missed each other. However, Lin Wei opted for an older phone model instead. Back home, Byron commented that Lin Wei must have feelings for Shiryu. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come down from the mountain just for her. Hearing this, Shiryu started thinking about pursuing both her career and love. Meanwhile, Shu Yu, who secretly liked Shiryu, was unhappy but could only watch as she packed her belongings to head back to the mountain. On her way, Shiryu encountered a dishonest taxi driver who tried to overcharge her. When she refused, the driver attempted to snatch her wallet. Fortunately, Lin Wei arrived just in time, subduing the driver and forcing him to apologize. Lin Wei firmly reminded the driver that this wasn't some remote area and that he wasn't alone. The driver eventually backed down. Their exchange was overheard by Fay Fay, who then decided to move to the mountain as well. During the journey, Fay Fay met Shu Yu, who offered to help carry her belongings. However, upon reaching the mountain, they noticed how close Shu Yu and Lin Wei had become. This strengthened Shu Yu's and Fay Fay's determination to stay. Despite their efforts, Lin Wei rejected their presence, suggesting they descend the mountain before the rain started. But as thunder roared, they rushed into the house, leaving Lin Wei resigned to the situation. Meanwhile, Shiryu began openly pursuing Lin Wei. However, Shu Yu, who always seemed to appear at critical moments, became an obstacle. Every time a romantic moment was about to unfold, Shu Yu would show up and interrupt, much to Shiryu's frustration. Eventually, Shiryu pulled Shu Yu aside, pointed out that it was almost lunchtime, and asked him to go down the mountain to buy food. After much effort, Shiryu managed to send Shu Yu down the mountain, leaving her with more room to focus on Lin Wei. Shiryu eagerly headed to the kitchen, but her steps faltered when she overheard a conversation between Lin Wei and Fay Fay. In the conversation, Lin Wei casually mentioned that he only considered Shiryu a friend. Fay Fay responded, pointing out that it was clear Shiryu didn't see him the same way. Lin Wei admitted that he hadn't maintained proper boundaries, which may have led to Shiryu's misunderstanding. Fay Fay then asked if Shiryu knew that Lin Wei didn't believe in marriage. Hearing this, Shiryu's heart sank. Back in her room, Lin Wei's words replayed in Shiryu's mind, leaving her questioning whether her love story had ended before it even began. Yet, Shiryu was not one to give up easily. Deep down, she resolved that if her feelings were destined to fail, she at least wanted to understand why. Meanwhile, Shu Yu, who had been sent down the mountain earlier, was working hard to retrieve Shiryu's pawn bag. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough money. Shu Yu pleaded with the shop owner to hold the bag for him. However, the owner nonchalantly replied that it would depend on fate, as many others were interested in the bag. On the mountain, Shiryu continued her efforts to win over Lin Wei. When it began to rain, she used the opportunity to invite him to her room. Gently, she asked if Lin Wei wanted to remember this rainy moment as something special. Before he could respond, Shiryu suddenly kissed him. The unexpected kiss left Lin Wei confused and unsure of how to react. He even forgot how to reject her. However, the romantic moment was abruptly interrupted when Shu Yu returned and saw them. Lin Wei, flustered, quickly came up with an excuse, saying he was there for a book. Frustrated, Shu Yu sarcastically asked Shu Yu if he wasn't supposed to be on a break. Shu Yu casually replied that he remembered Shu Yu's room's roof still needed fixing and wanted to make sure there were no leaks. Although his intentions were good, Shiryu saw it as a major interruption and firmly sent Shiryu away, granting him a full day off. Following the incident, Lin Wei began avoiding Shiryu. It wasn't just because of the awkwardness from their kiss, but also due to Shiryu's words the night before. Shiryu had advised Lin Wei, as a wealthy man who had encountered many women, not to pursue a relationship with Shiryu unless he was truly ready. Shiryu emphasized that Shiryu was different from others. These words made Lin Wei reflect deeply, questioning whether he was truly prepared for a serious relationship with Shiryu. At the same time, Shiryu wrestled with her emotions, determined not to give up on her feelings despite her inner turmoil. During this period, Lin Wei received an unexpected visit from his uncle, who wasted no time in delivering sharp criticisms. His uncle accused Lin Wei of pretending to live a simple life on the mountain as a form of atonement, but implied he was only there for romance. Lin Wei defended himself, insisting that he knew what he should and shouldn't do. However, his uncle hit him with a cutting remark, stating that if Lin Wei were truly wise, his mother wouldn't have lost her life because of him. Those words pierced Lin Wei's heart, reopening wounds from his past. The scene then revealed that the mountain was once abundant with tea plants. However, due to poor sales, Lin Wei's mother suggested that the villagers switch to growing coffee beans as a way to escape poverty. Unfortunately, when other villages followed suit, the coffee market became oversaturated. As a result, the villagers blamed Lin Wei's mother. When they tried to return to planting tea, the soil was no longer as fertile as before. Lin Wei believed this was the reason behind his determination to revive tea farming on the mountain. After his conversation with his uncle, Lin Wei decided to temporarily set aside matters of the heart. However, his father had a different plan. Director Lin approached Shiryu, encouraging her to fight harder for Lin Wei's heart. He urged her not to give up and to seize the opportunity to win him over. Inspired by his encouragement, Shiryu resolved to approach Lin Wei again. One evening, as Lin Wei was about to enter his house, Shiryu blocked his way and asked why he always acted so kind if they were only friends. Lin Wei hesitated for a moment before entering his house and returning with a hope ribbon he had once found. Handing it to Shiryu, he explained that his care stemmed from a feeling of sympathy. He admitted that seeing her in a vulnerable position had stirred a desire in him to offer her some warmth. Shiryu was taken aback by his explanation and asked why he didn't reject her kiss earlier. Lin Wei fell silent, unsure of what to say. Convinced that Lin Wei had feelings for her, Shiryu refused to give up. However, Lin Wei's next words shattered her hope. He asked if she had truly thought things through and, with a cold tone, told her that if she wanted to continue her live streams on the mountain, he wouldn't stop her, but their relationship would remain as friends only. Shiryu's hope crumbled instantly. Heartbroken, she descended the mountain with Shiryu, crying the entire way. The thought of returning to the mountain for her live streams and facing Lin Wei again filled her with embarrassment. Shiryu, walking beside her, could only offer words of comfort. Back in the city, Shiryu poured out her sadness to Bai Ruan. At that moment, Bai Ruan advised her that life shouldn't depend on one tree alone, reminding her that there were many good men out there. As they talked, Shiryu called with news that Xiang, their competitor, had started her live streams on the mountain. Feeling her career was now at risk after losing love, Shiryu decided to return to the mountain with Shiryu, determined not to let her career fall apart despite her heartbreak. Upon arriving at the mountain, they were met by Hua Shui, the caretaker of the area, who disapproved of their presence. Hua Shui reminded them that the place had rules, and not everyone could come and go as they pleased. Meanwhile, Xiang, who secretly aimed to bring Shiryu down, continued making snide remarks. She even insinuated that Shiryu had secured her work opportunities through dishonest means. Shiryu was furious with Xiang's behavior. However, her anger only worsened the situation when Xiang took advantage of the chaos to damage the memory card used for their live stream. Luckily, Mrs. Xia arrived just in time to help resolve the issue. To express her gratitude, Shiryu asked Shiryu to buy some items and deliver them to Mrs. Xia's home. When Shiryu asked if they should return to the mountain afterward, Shiryu explained that they needed to properly thank Mrs. Xia. However, life on the mountain was proving to be far more difficult than Shiryu had imagined. The day before, she had overheard that their tea seedlings had been destroyed, leaving all the plants dead. Without hesitation, Shiryu dropped everything and went to find Lin Wei. She found him sitting silently in the rain, drenched and motionless. Shiryu approached him, urging him to move, warning that he might fall ill if he stayed like that. She reassured him that there had to be a solution. The only person who could help now was the village chief, whose ancestors had first introduced the Lixiang tea variety to the village. However, when Shiryu approached the chief for help, he refused outright. Undeterred, she returned to Lin Wei and confidently told him they would find another way if the chief wouldn't assist them. Yet, secretly, Shiryu went back to the village chief, bringing delicious food and sincerely pleading for his help. After much persistence, the chief finally agreed, but only on one condition. Shiryu had to pull all the weeds from the fields, fill them into sacks, and complete the task entirely on her own. Without hesitation, Shiryu accepted the challenge and decided to use the opportunity for a live stream. What she didn't realize was that while she was busy weeding, Fay Fay slyly approached Lin Wei to spend time alone with him. This scene was spotted by Mrs. Xia, who had always supported Shiryu. Mrs. Xia promptly intervened, pushing Fay Fay aside and taking her place next to Lin Wei. Frustrated, Fay Fay could only watch from a distance, seething with anger. Tensions rose further when Fay Fay noticed a dog nearby. Cunningly, she released the dog and then pretended to panic, telling Mrs. Xia to go and catch it. However, Mrs. Xia wasn't easily fooled. She firmly stated that Fay Fay should chase after the dog herself while she stayed with Lin Wei. Left with no choice, Fay Fay reluctantly left to chase the dog. After Fay Fay was gone, Mrs. Xia told Lin Wei about Shiryu's visit to the village chief to beg for his help. Hearing this, Lin Wei stopped caring about the tea fields. Together with Shiryu, he rushed to find Shiryu. Late that night, they discreetly helped her fill the remaining sacks while the chief was asleep. Unbeknownst to them, the chief had been watching their every move. Once they finished, he stepped out of the shadows, giving them a sharp look while saying that they couldn't fool him that easily, with his tone of voice breaking the silence. Amid the chaos, Lin Wei, who had injured his leg earlier, was forced to return home with the village chief to tend to his wound. When Shiryu offered to help bandage his injury, Shiryu suddenly interrupted, suggesting that the position wasn't comfortable for Shiryu and volunteering to handle it himself. Shiryu, feeling capable, challenged Shiryu, thinking she was better suited for the task. After observing both of them for a moment, Lin Wei reluctantly chose Shiryu. Seizing the opportunity, Shiryu applied the ointment with noticeable pressure, causing Lin Wei to wince in pain. Lin Wei firmly told Shiryu there was no need to see him as a rival. However, Shiryu casually responded that he only wanted to be friends, though inwardly he was annoyed, thinking all men used the same excuse. Despite their efforts, the village chief remained steadfast in refusing to help them. Later that evening, the four of them sat in the courtyard, drowning their disappointment in drinks. As the night wore on, Shiryu became increasingly intoxicated, eventually losing his balance and collapsing in a heap. Lin Wei turned to Shiryu and asked her to take Shiryu home. Pulling her aside, Lin Wei questioned how she planned to carry someone as large and heavy as Shiryu, given her own physical limitations. Meanwhile, in another setting, Bai Ruan was having dinner with Zheng Zong, Lin Wei's uncle. During the meal, Zheng Zong presented her with an expensive necklace as a gift. Bai Ruan refused, saying she didn't feel worthy of such a present. Zheng Zong smiled and explained that the necklace was a token of gratitude for the information she had provided about Lin Wei's relationships. However, Bai Ruan firmly rejected the gift, unwilling to betray Shiryu. She rose to leave, but Zheng Zong stopped her, insisting she stay and keep him company. In response, Bai Ruan replied that she wasn't hungry, but Zheng Zong urged her to stay regardless. Frustrated, Bai Ruan downed a glass of alcohol in one gulp. As her head grew dizzy, she still refused to reveal her home address to him. Eventually, Zheng Zong took the intoxicated Bai Ruan back to his own house. In her drunken state, Bai Ruan clung to him and even pinched his cheek, calling him adorable. Annoyed but holding back, Zheng Zong thought to himself that she would regret her behavior in the morning. The next day, Bai Ruan woke up to find the sun already high and the clock reading 10 a.m. Panicking, she grabbed her bag and rushed to the office. When she arrived, she found Zheng Zong leading a meeting. Trying to slip in unnoticed, she failed as Zheng Zong immediately called her out, asking her to stop. Forced to approach, Bai Ruan knew his question about her tardiness was purely rhetorical. He already knew the answer. To make matters worse, Zheng Zong docked her pay for being late, leaving Bai Ruan grumbling internally without a defense. Back on the mountain, Shi Yu, unwilling to give up, devised a new plan to win over the village chief. She baked delicious sugar-free cakes, hoping the thoughtful gesture would soften his heart. With high hopes, she offered the cakes to the chief, urging him to try one. The chief took a bite and admitted the cakes were indeed delicious, but added with a serious tone that he couldn't betray his villagers unless a miracle happened. Shi Yu, determined, replied with conviction that miracles are made by people, her eyes fixed on the cake in the chief's hand. Shi Yu then gathered the villagers to help clean the soil around the plantation. Together, they worked tirelessly, washing the soil with water, and soon began to see results. Filled with joy at the progress, Shi Yu decided to host a dinner to thank the villagers for their efforts. She made sure to invite the village chief as well. After the villagers left, Lin Wei thanked Shi Yu for all her hard work. However, their conversation was interrupted by Fay Fay, who urgently asked Lin Wei to take her to the city that afternoon. Hearing this, Shi Yu quickly instructed Shi Yu to take Fay Fay instead. Though reluctant, Shi Yu grabbed Fay Fay's hand and led her away, leaving Lin Wei and Shi Yu some time alone. Their moment together, however, was short-lived. Suddenly, Shi Yu clutched her stomach in pain, her face growing pale and her temperature rising, clear signs of a fever. Without hesitation, Lin Wei carried Shi Yu on his back and set off for the hospital. On the way, Shi Yu, embarrassed, explained that she was only experiencing menstrual cramps. Upon hearing this, Lin Wei immediately put her down and, slightly awkwardly, suggested she drink warm water. However, Shi Yu asked him to buy some medicine and sanitary products for her. Though momentarily stunned, Lin Wei understood and quickly went to purchase them. Meanwhile, Shi Yu, descending the mountain with Fay Fay, couldn't stop complaining about how Shi Yu always assigned him so many tasks. His grumbling irritated Fay Fay, who turned around to confront him. However, her sudden movement caused them to collide and fall to the ground. In an attempt to protect Fay Fay during the fall, Shi Yu injured his arm. Seeing his injury, Fay Fay's annoyance turned to concern. Watching how Shi Yu had shielded her, Fay Fay began to notice his caring nature. But this feeling didn't last long. After escorting her partway, Shi Yu left her on the roadside, instructing her to take the bus. Frustrated, Fay Fay muttered that Shi Yu must have been wrong to describe Shi Yu as a thoughtful man. Shi Yu, pretending not to hear her complaint, continued walking without saying a word. Once Fay Fay boarded the bus, Shi Yu considered returning to check on Lin Wei and Shi Yu. Before he could leave, he received a call from his mother. Expecting a scolding for not coming home, Shi Yu was surprised when his mother instead wished him a happy birthday and sent money for a gift. Overjoyed, Shi Yu decided to use the money to redeem Shi Yu's bag from the pawn shop. Excitedly, Shi Yu brought the bag back, only for his happiness to shatter at the sight of Lin Wei sitting beside Shi Yu, who was peacefully asleep. Lin Wei didn't want to wake her. Heartbroken, Shi Yu quietly placed the bag inside a cabinet instead of giving it to her directly. Back at the office, Shi Yu found himself staring at a picture of Shi Yu and Lin Wei looking close and happy together. The image left him feeling increasingly uneasy. As he brooded, Shi Yu called, asking him to return as soon as he finished his work. Meanwhile, Shi Yu and Lin Wei were out shopping at the market for ingredients to prepare for the dinner. That evening, Shi Yu arrived to find a table filled with delicious dishes that Lin Wei had prepared. The dinner was hosted as a gesture of gratitude to everyone who had contributed their help. The warm atmosphere and the shared appreciation brought everyone together for a night of celebration. At the dining table, Lin Wei kindly added more food to Shi Yu's plate. This gesture, observed from a distance by Shi Yu, left him feeling deeply hurt. Making an excuse about needing to finish work, Shi Yu left the gathering. Later, when Shi Yu returned to her room to search for a memory card, she found a bag inside the closet. Confused, she asked about its origin. Shuyu avoided a direct answer and instead reminded her that, as shareholders in the company, they needed to face its challenges together. Although he dodged her question, Shiryu understood his silent kindness and how he always supported her during difficult times. Unfortunately, the memory card remained missing, and they decided to re-record the material needed for their project. This decision caused a delay, forcing them to negotiate an extension with the responsible party. However, approval for the extension required the consent of Chun Xiang, Shiryu's rival. Despite their best efforts to persuade her, Chun Xiang firmly refused. With no other choice, Shiryu and Shuyu worked overtime to re-record the necessary content. On the way back home, while waiting at a red light, Shiryu quietly applied lipstick, intending to confess her feelings to Lin Wei that evening. However, upon arriving home, her attention was immediately drawn to a large bathtub. Assuming it was made especially for her by Lin Wei, Shiryu admired it with excitement and asked if it was indeed built for her. Lin Wei explained that the bathtub was created after overhearing a conversation with Shuyu about how difficult it was to bathe on the mountain. He added that the intention behind the bathtub was to provide a little comfort despite the challenges of living there. Lin Wei had secretly started working on it after they descended the mountain and had finished it in a short time. When Fay Fay saw the bathtub, she immediately wanted to use it. However, Lin Wei stopped her, claiming the paint was not yet dry. Unconvinced, Fay Fay waited for a moment of distraction and then used the bathtub anyway. At that moment, Shiryu returned and witnessed the scene. Hurt by what she saw, she stormed off, feeling upset. After taking a few steps, Shiryu realized that walking away without closure wasn't her style. Determined, she turned back to express her feelings. With sincerity, Shiryu confessed that she liked Lin Wei, but added that her feelings would end there. She declared her decision to stop pursuing him, aiming to close this chapter of her emotions completely. However, by now, Lin Wei had changed. During the days Shiryu spent on the mountain, she had unknowingly become an essential part of his life. After Shiryu left, Lin Wei felt his life lose its vibrancy. Meals no longer brought him joy, work became sluggish, and everything felt empty and meaningless. Even his favorite activity, tending to the tea, lost its charm, leaving him disheartened and aimless. Amid this gloom, Shuyu, who had been watching quietly, felt a sense of satisfaction and called Fay Fay to share the news that Shiryu had moved out of Lin Wei's house. However, Fay Fay warned him not to celebrate too soon. She reminded him that love is unpredictable and no one can foresee what might happen next. Not long after, Director Lin came to visit his son after learning that Shiryu had left. He gently reminded Lin Wei that while planting tea is meaningful, sharing life with someone you love holds an even greater purpose. He warned Lin Wei that if he let this opportunity slip away, he might regret it later. Though Lin Wei didn't respond immediately, the next day, he set out to find Shiryu. Carrying soup he had cooked himself, he claimed he was delivering it to Mrs. Shah, but his real intention was to see Shiryu. Shiryu, still nursing her heartbreak, showed little interest in further interactions with Lin Wei. She chose instead to focus on her work, especially with a project presentation looming the next day that still required significant preparation. Seeing Lin Wei's dejected demeanor, Mrs. Shah stepped in to help. She suggested that Lin Wei and Shiryu accompany her to the city to purchase wedding supplies for her daughter. Lin Wei used the opportunity to persuade Shiryu to come along. The next day, Shiryu was surprised to find Lin Wei joining the trip to the city. Mrs. Shah reasoned that having more hands would make the task easier. Together, they set off on a small electric scooter. In the city, instead of heading straight to buy wedding supplies, they stopped at a bridal shop. Initially hesitant, Shiryu reluctantly agreed to try on a wedding dress to help Mrs. Shah. When Shiryu stepped out in the gown, Lin Wei was momentarily stunned by her beauty. Gathering his courage, he gently approached her, lightly touching her shoulder and helping to fix her hair. Shiryu, who had been annoyed earlier, found herself softening at Lin Wei's sincerity. However, the tender moment was interrupted when Shiryu received a call from Shuyu, asking for materials for their project presentation. Work once again took precedence, and the moment was cut short. When Shuyu heard that Shiryu had tried on a wedding dress, he jumped to conclusions, assuming she was getting married. Shiryu quickly clarified that she was only helping Mrs. Sha's daughter with her wedding preparations. As Shiryu prepared to return to work, he overheard Lin Wei's voice in the background, which reignited his unease. Shiryu immediately informed Fay Fay, who advised him to be more proactive in getting closer to Lin Wei. Meanwhile, for the upcoming project presentation, Shiryu showcased a unique concept. Her video highlighted the natural beauty of the countryside, blending rural charm with urban sophistication, perfectly aligning with the coffee brand's vision. In contrast, her competitor, Chen Xiang, relied heavily on visual effects that lacked a genuine connection to coffee. As a result, Shiryu's video captivated the audience, and a friend from a major social media platform helped feature it on the homepage. Not one to back down, Chen Xiang used all her connections to regain the upper hand. Within a short time, her video reclaimed the spotlight. Seeing Shiryu's position slipping, Lin Wei, unable to sit idly by, stepped in to assist. Thanks to Lin Wei's support, Shiryu's video rose back to the top, becoming the main highlight. Lin Wei finally felt a sense of relief as he left the office satisfied. Though Shiryu won the presentation competition, the main project didn't go to her. Ultimately, the final decision rested with Zheng Zong, who chose a different idea. When Shiryu tried to discuss the disappointing outcome, Zheng Zong firmly dismissed her concerns. Feeling disheartened, Shiryu saw Lin Wei waiting for her outside the office. She thanked him for his support throughout the day, even though things didn't go as planned. Lin Wei offered to take her home, but Shiryu mentioned she had another meeting with Xu Yu and her friends. Concerned, Lin Wei ensured she was all right before leaving. Shortly after, Shiryu arrived early at the restaurant for the meeting, but instead of Xu Yu, a woman introduced herself as Xu Yu's mother. The woman handed Shiryu a business card, leaving her stunned to discover that Xu Yu was a wealthy heir who had been hiding his identity. Xu Yu's mother also revealed that he had returned to Beijing, leaving Shiryu feeling guilty, as she feared her actions might have burdened him. Although Xu Yu was reluctant to leave, he had to obey his mother. This revelation left Shiryu feeling devastated. While Shiryu tried to calm herself, Bai Ruan, who intended to stay by her side, received an urgent call from Zheng Zong and was forced to leave. Before departing, Bai Ruan called Lin Wei and asked him to check on Shiryu. Without hesitation, Lin Wei, who was on his way home, turned around and headed to Shiryu's location. When Lin Wei arrived, he found Shiryu crying alone in her car. Not wanting to intrude, he watched from a distance as she eventually went into a bar. Concerned she might get drunk and something bad could happen, Lin Wei followed her inside to ensure her safety. After allowing her to release her emotions, Lin Wei escorted her home. As it was late, Shiryu invited Lin Wei to stay overnight. She even kindly showed him where the bathroom supplies were, but forgot to maintain proper boundaries, prompting Lin Wei to gently remind her to give him privacy while showering. Bai Ruan woke up upon hearing the commotion, causing Shiryu to panic and dash into the bathroom. The chaotic scene left Lin Wei baffled and confused. Not long after, Bai Ruan returned, wanting to speak with Shiryu, but Shiryu asked her to wait as she was still in the bathroom. Once everything settled down, Shiryu and Lin Wei ended up sharing a room due to the lack of other options. For the first time, Lin Wei had to share a room with a woman, which made him uncomfortable. In the awkward silence, he found himself struggling with the urge to kiss Shiryu. However, at the last moment, he managed to restrain himself and moved away. Unbeknownst to him, Shiryu, lying on the floor and not yet asleep, had witnessed his internal struggle. The sight lifted her heavy heart slightly. The next morning, Lin Wei woke to see Shiryu cooking with great focus. The sight of her dedication and warmth convinced him that she was the perfect partner for him. In his heart, Lin Wei vowed to protect Shiryu and ensure no one, not even his uncle, would harm her. With renewed determination, Lin Wei called a board meeting and warned his uncle not to abuse his authority in the company. His bold stance shocked his uncle, as Lin Wei had always avoided corporate conflicts. Upon returning to his village, the village chief and his wife advised Lin Wei not to let the opportunity with Shiryu slip away. They likened a good woman to a young plant in a field. If one waits too long, someone else might take it. Their words echoed in Lin Wei's mind, compelling him to take a more active approach in expressing his feelings to Shiryu. When Shiryu climbed the mountain to meet Lin Wei, he quickly greeted her with genuine care and enthusiasm. Lin Wei even reminded her about the bathtub he had previously built especially for her, which she hadn't had the chance to use yet. While Lin Wei was trying to get closer to Shiryu, Fay Fay appeared, exuding a challenging attitude. Despite Fay Fay's provocation, Shiryu remained composed and unafraid. Instead, she confidently challenged Fay Fay to prove her worth. The next day, they attended the wedding of the village chief's daughter. Shiryu wore traditional attire that left everyone in awe, praising her beauty. Unexpectedly, Fay Fay wore the same outfit, making them look like twins. Despite this, Shiryu handled the situation gracefully, exuding confidence, while Fay Fay, unwilling to be outshone, attempted to steal the spotlight by asking the bride to give her the bouquet during the ceremony. Their rivalry intensified, adding a lively atmosphere to the event. When Fay Fay made her request for the bouquet, the bride revealed that someone else had already asked for it earlier, but declined to disclose who. Suspicious. Fay Fay recalled seeing Shiryu in the room before she entered. Fay Fay began to feel that Shiryu was always one step ahead of her, even competing over something as simple as a bouquet. When someone asked Lin Wei what type of flowers he liked, he confidently replied that he didn't like any flowers. The only thing he liked was Shiryu. To him, Shiryu was the most beautiful of all. Finally, it was time for the bouquet to be given, a tradition in the village where the bride must hand it over personally. However, since there were two contenders, the bride suggested a game to determine the winner. Fay Fay immediately stepped forward to participate, but was shocked when she saw Lin Wei join the game as well. Only then did Fay Fay realize that the other person who had requested the bouquet was not Shiryu. The game began, and Lin Wei subtly protected Shiryu throughout. However, the outcome was unexpected. The village chief himself won the game. With great joy, the chief gave the bouquet to his wife, creating a heartwarming moment amidst the wedding festivities. Seeing the growing closeness between Lin Wei and Shiryu, Fay Fay was visibly annoyed. She took out her phone, snapped a photo of the two, and sent it to Shiryu, as if to share her feelings of jealousy. After the wedding, Lin Wei decided it was time to stop hiding his feelings. Summoning his courage, he confessed his love to Shiryu, telling her that he wanted to be with her. When Shiryu teased him by reminding him of a past vow, Lin Wei stayed firm and sealed his confession with an unexpected kiss. The sudden gesture surprised Shiryu, but deep down, it was the moment she had been waiting for. Earlier, Lin Wei had also rejected Fay Fay's confession of love, making it clear that his heart belonged to Shiryu. To him, if Fay Fay had the bravery to confess her feelings, then he couldn't wait any longer to express his own. With their feelings now out in the open, Lin Wei asked Shiryu to take some time to consider accepting his love. However, Shiryu immediately replied that there was no need to think about it. She had liked him for a long time. Finally, the two officially became a couple. To express his love, Lin Wei woke up early the next morning to prepare breakfast for Shiryu. When the meal was ready, Shiryu happily kissed Lin Wei as a gesture of gratitude. That morning felt like a dream to Shiryu. Before waking up, she had dreamed of Lin Wei waking her with affection, calling her darling, and now, that dream had come true. Filled with excitement, Shiryu decided to descend the mountain to cancel the lease on her old house. On her way down, Shiryu was confronted by Fay Fay, who was still bitter about the fact that Lin Wei had chosen Shiryu over her. Fay Fay, disappointed after harboring feelings for Lin Wei for so long, expressed her frustration. However, Shiryu calmly faced her and told her to keep watching if that's what she wanted to do. Meanwhile, Shiryu's best friend, Ruan, was dealing with her own romantic confusion. After a night of escorting her boss, Zhong, home while he was drunk, their relationship had grown more familiar. However, Zhong hadn't shown any signs of deeper interest, leaving Ruan wondering about his true feelings. As she pondered this, Ruan received an unexpected call from Zhong, asking her to return to the office for an urgent matter. Upon arriving at the office, Ruan realized Zhong had two main reasons for calling her. First, he informed her of his plans to travel out of town. Then, he asked if she had anything she wanted to say. Ruan, keeping her response simple, mentioned that she had been working hard. Zhong, slightly disappointed, had hoped for something more heartfelt, like an expression that she would miss him. Nonetheless, her straightforward response was enough to lift her own spirits. The lighthearted mood didn't last long. Zheng Zong's plan to have dinner with Bai Ruan was interrupted by the arrival of Xing Chun, who appeared to have pressed matters to discuss. As a result, the dinner was cancelled. Xing Chun then revealed a grand plan to collaborate with Zheng Zong in an attempt to overthrow Lin Wei. This scheme introduced new tension into Lin Wei's life, as neither he nor those around him were aware of the hidden threat posed by this alliance. Meanwhile, Lin Wei focused solely on strengthening his relationship with Shi Yu after the loss of their previous project. Upon hearing that his son was in a relationship, Director Lin was even more excited than Lin Wei himself. However, Shi Yu started feeling undervalued in their relationship. That evening, she dressed beautifully, hoping to catch Lin Wei's attention. But Lin Wei, busy cooking, didn't notice her at all. Undeterred, Shi Yu tried hinting by arranging a heart-shaped fruit platter. Yet, Lin Wei remained unresponsive. Frustrated, Shi Yu vented her feelings through social media. In her post, she wrote that dating felt pointless and that she might as well become a cotton beater. The post quickly caught the attention of the villagers, leaving them puzzled about its meaning. Some even questioned the post's relevance, as the village didn't produce cotton. Coincidentally, Lin Wei walked into the middle of the conversation and finally realized the meaning behind Shi Yu's post. Meanwhile, Shi Yu, who was in Beijing, also came across Shi Yu's social media status. Even though he was far away, his thoughts remained with Shi Yu. Struggling with his overbearing mother, who constantly interfered in his life, Shi Yu decided to take matters into his own hands. He asked Fay Fay to keep an eye on Shi Yu, but Fay Fay refused. Frustrated by her decision, Shi Yu made a bold move, resigning from his job without notice and immediately heading back to the village. Shortly after ending the call, Fay Fay overheard villagers discussing the growing relationship between Shi Yu and Lin Wei. Thanks to her previous meddling, their bond had deepened. Wanting to support their relationship further, Mrs. Xia gave Shi Yu her wedding dress as a gesture of goodwill. At home, a warm and romantic ambience was created to bring Lin Wei and Shi Yu closer. When Lin Wei returned and saw the setting, his demeanor softened. Their relationship seemed even more promising as they shared an intimate dance under the stars in the courtyard, lost in each other's presence. During the tender moment, Lin Wei promised to treat Shi Yu well and suggested they go on a date the following day. The next day, news of Lin Wei and Shi Yu's date reached Fay Fay, who decided to interfere. At the market, Fay Fay repeatedly interrupted, vying for Lin Wei's attention. She urged him to shop for various items and even inserted herself between them. When Shi Yu wanted to play a fishing game to win a small duck-shaped plush toy, Fay Fay suggested they try a different game instead. Fay Fay even proposed a wager. If she won, Shi Yu would have to stay away from Lin Wei. However, Fay Fay became so engrossed in the game that she forgot her initial objective. Taking advantage of the moment, Lin Wei seized the opportunity to whisk Shi Yu away, leaving Fay Fay behind. Free from distractions, their date turned out to be delightful. When Fay Fay finally realized that Shi Yu and Lin Wei had left, she sat in a daze, feeling defeated. She sent a message to Shi Yu, asking when he would return, hoping he would come back soon to assist her. Amid the blossoming relationship between Shi Yu and Lin Wei, a new challenge arose. With a heavy heart, Lin Wei expressed his intent to break up with Shi Yu. The announcement left Shi Yu furious, accusing him of being irresponsible for wanting to end things so soon after their relationship began. Lin Wei remained silent, offering no explanation. Unbeknownst to Shi Yu, Lin Wei was under immense pressure. His assets had been frozen, and his accounts restricted due to the machinations of Xing Chun and Zheng Zong. Although Lin Wei appeared unaffected on the surface, Xing Chun began using Shi Yu as leverage. Xing Chun threatened to destroy her business entirely. Not wanting her to get dragged into his troubles, Lin Wei concluded that breaking up was the only way to protect her. When Fay Fay learned about the breakup, she didn't feel the satisfaction she had anticipated. Instead, she confronted Lin Wei, demanding an explanation. During their conversation, Fay Fay realized the magnitude of the challenges he was facing. She argued that these problems were not a valid reason to end his relationship with Shiryu. However, overwhelmed by the weight of his troubles, Lin Wei insisted that he needed time alone to sort everything out. After her conversation with Lin Wei, Fay Fay informed Shiryu about the breakup. Upon hearing that Lin Wei and Shiryu's relationship had ended, Shiryu felt a spark of joy, thinking it was his chance to win her over. However, his excitement was short-lived as the situation proved to be far more complicated than he had anticipated. Meanwhile, a heartbroken Shiryu confided in Mrs. Xia, who refused to believe that Lin Wei would end their relationship without a significant reason. Her words made Shiryu realize that Lin Wei must be dealing with an issue he couldn't resolve on his own. Back home, Shiryu began searching online for information about Lin Wei. Before she could find anything, Fay Fay arrived and revealed the full details of Lin Wei's situation. From their conversation, Shiryu finally understood the reason behind Lin Wei's decision to break up. Fay Fay then warned Shiryu to carefully consider her next steps. Lin Wei had disclosed his massive debts and stated that if Shiryu wasn't prepared to face the hardships with him, he wouldn't blame her for giving up. However, Shiryu was not someone who based love on wealth. Without hesitation, she confronted Lin Wei at a tea shop, firmly rejecting the breakup. Shiryu demanded to know if Lin Wei thought she was materialistic. She emphasized that a relationship required mutual trust. Touched by her determination, Lin Wei stopped running away, embraced Shiryu, and apologized for his actions. Shiryu promised Lin Wei that she would work hard to support their family. She assured him that he only needed to focus on other things at home while she helped to pay off the debts, no matter how large the amount. When Lin Wei revealed that his debts amounted to a staggering 1 billion, Shiryu boldly declared that she didn't care about the figure. Despite being shocked by the magnitude of the debt, Shiryu vowed to stand by Lin Wei and fight through the challenges together. She committed to working hard to earn money, even if she couldn't fully pay off the debt, just to help Lin Wei through these tough times. Unexpectedly, a business opportunity arose. Shiryu received a call from a client interested in collaborating and investing, even planning to visit her company. To her surprise, the client turned out to be Xu Yu's uncle, who had been secretly supporting her. As it turned out, Xu had met with Shiryu the day before. He wanted to work with her again, but Shiryu declined, not wanting to trouble him. At that moment, Shiryu had misunderstood, thinking Shiryu was still upset over his sudden departure in the past. To help her, Shiryu asked his uncle to provide business support and secure an office space for her. He even asked Fay Fay to relay the assistance, but Shiryu chose to seek help from the village chief instead of accepting Xu Yu's offer. Eventually, Shiryu and her team opened a small office on a hill with the help of the villagers. Everyone was enthusiastic about assisting, including Lin Wei, who became her assistant and even wrote poetry to decorate the office. Not only that, several special guests attended the opening celebration, including the village chief, who organized a festive ceremony and hung large flower garlands around Shiryu and Lin Wei's necks, making them look like a couple getting married. The preparations were completed just in time, and Shiryu arrived with his uncle, the client, to attend the opening. Shiryu warmly welcomed them, and when she saw Shiryu, she finally realized that all the support she had received had come from him. That evening, when Lin Wei called Shiryu and a man answered the phone, saying that Shiryu was in the restroom, Lin Wei immediately felt uneasy. It was late, and Shiryu was still with another man. Without hesitation, Lin Wei set off to pick her up. When Shiryu offered to drive Shiryu home, Lin Wei rejected the offer outright, taking Shiryu's hand and leading her away. Lin Wei had brought along an old car, which his father had sent to the hill the day before to make his activities more convenient. Despite the ups and downs in their relationship, Shiryu and Lin Wei continued to support one another. Initially, Lin Wei had firmly declined his father's offer of the car, stating that he didn't need it. However, his father had insisted, suggesting that the car might help impress a potential future daughter-in-law. Even so, Lin Wei stubbornly refused. But upon learning that Shiryu was spending time with Xu Yu late into the night, Lin Wei immediately called his father and requested the car to be delivered as soon as possible. The primary reason Lin Wei accepted the car wasn't just for convenience, but also to maintain his pride in front of Xu Yu. Xu Yu, who had recently returned from Beijing, had brought his personal car, and Lin Wei didn't want to be outshone by his rival. He was still annoyed that Shuyu had answered a call meant for Shiryu. Lin Wei firmly told Shiryu that, from now on, only she was allowed to answer his phone. Realizing that Lin Wei was jealous, Shiryu couldn't resist asking why he liked her. Lin Wei, in a teasing tone, replied that perhaps it was because she had been so persistent in pursuing him. Although he said it jokingly, his response annoyed Shiryu. To express his displeasure about Shiryu having dinner with Shiryu, Lin Wei acted slightly distant. However, the real reason Shiryu had been with Shiryu late that night was because he had been helping her secure a client. The day before, during a live broadcast by Shiryu, a duck had unexpectedly wandered into the studio, causing chaos. Everyone scrambled to catch the duck, but the broadcast was disrupted. At one point, the duck even soiled Shiryu's hair, turning what was supposed to be a well-planned broadcast into a disaster. Due to the incident, a potential client canceled their investment plans. However, before leaving, Shiryu pleaded with the client to reconsider working with her company, Shiguang. Shiryu also assured the client that the incident was merely an accident. In the end, Shuyu's uncle, one of the potential clients, agreed to reconsider the collaboration. Shiryu promptly shared the good news with Shiryu, who felt greatly relieved. Amid the joyous moment, Shiryu cautiously asked if he could return to work the next day. Shiryu replied that he could come at precisely 8 o'clock, warning him that if he were late, he'd have to sweep the floors. The next day, Shiryu returned to work with renewed enthusiasm. However, to his surprise, Lin Wei was also working at the same company. Confidently, Shiryu told Lin Wei that Shiryu had granted him permission to rejoin the team. Their workplace interactions were tense, as neither was willing to back down. Yet, beneath their rivalry lay a shared goal, to help Shiguang grow and succeed. The failed live broadcast surprisingly brought unexpected benefits. A clip of them chasing the duck during the broadcast went viral and was turned into various memes that quickly spread across the internet overnight. Shiryu's unique expressions caught everyone's attention, earning her the nickname Dark Sister. Curious about the source of the memes, Shiryu asked Shiryu to investigate. Eventually, they decided to visit the city together, much to Fay Fay's annoyance. At one moment, Fay Fay accused them of being too close in public, but denied being upset when questioned about it. Instead, she claimed that it wasn't fair to Shiryu. In truth, Fay Fay was irritated with Shiryu. Earlier, Shiryu had picked up Fay Fay from the city and invited her to dinner as a thank you for providing important information about Shiryu. That information had helped Shiryu regain an opportunity to collaborate with Shiryu. As they were about to part ways, Fay Fay almost got hit by a motorcycle. Shiryu quickly pulled her out of harm's way, leaving Fay Fay impressed by his bravery. Though the moment left an impact, the awkwardness between them persisted, leading to their dinner plans being canceled. Meanwhile, Shiryu received good news from his uncle, who had decided to invest in Shiguang. The decision was based on two factors: the popularity of the live broadcast, which brought fame to the village, and the presence of Lin Wei. After watching the broadcast, Shiryu's uncle recognized Lin Wei as a former prominent figure in the investment world whose ideas had once inspired him to establish his own company. With the investment secured, Shiryu and Shiryu decided to celebrate. During their conversation, Shiryu asked why Shiryu had returned to such a small village when Beijing offered so many opportunities. Shiryu casually replied that it was because Shiryu was there. His response made Shiryu realize that Shiryu had feelings for her. On the other hand, Fay Fay, who also had feelings for Shiryu, grew restless and hoped Lin Wei could help her. However, Lin Wei found himself unsure of how to get involved in such a complicated love situation. After discovering Shiryu's feelings, Shiryu tried to keep her distance from him. When Shiryu invited Shiryu to dine at a bamboo-themed restaurant the next day, Shiryu declined, saying she needed to accompany Lin Wei. Shiryu then suggested meeting another day, but Shiryu cleverly proposed that he invite Fay Fay instead. To her surprise, Fay Fay actually showed up and asked Shiryu to have dinner with her. Unfortunately, Shiryu quickly turned her down, claiming he had work to finish. Through these interactions, Shiryu began to realize Fay Fay's feelings for Shiryu. Fay Fay finally expressed her frustrations, confessing that every man she liked always ended up falling for Shiryu. She even called Shiryu a curse in her life. Shiryu, unsure of how to respond, remained silent. The situation grew even more complicated since Shiryu had only learned of Shu Yu's feelings the day before and was still unsure how to handle the matter. During this awkward moment, Lin Wei arrived with fresh fruits he had just picked. Still feeling unsettled, Shiryu asked Lin Wei about his thoughts on a partner's expectations in a relationship. She inquired whether it was normal for a partner to restrict their significant other from talking too much with other men. Understanding the underlying meaning of her question, Lin Wei smiled and gave a diplomatic response. He stated that he trusted Shiryu and didn't believe in putting unnecessary pressure on their relationship. A few moments later, Lin Wei gently kissed Shiryu and admitted that he would naturally feel jealous. He added that this was just a small punishment for her. Their relationship grew even more intimate. However, this romantic moment was unintentionally witnessed by Shiryu, who had arrived early in the morning to deliver something to Shiryu. Seeing their closeness, Shiryu chose to leave the invitation without saying much and walked away. Shiryu then shared the good news with everyone that they had been invited to attend a grand event hosted by a famous celebrity. Hearing this, everyone became very excited and eagerly began preparing for the occasion. Meanwhile, Lin Wei remained calm and decided to stay back, using the opportunity to help bring Fay Fay closer to Shiryu. Soon after, Shiryu handed over the invitation to Fay Fay, hoping it would be a chance for Fay Fay and Shiryu to bond. That evening, Lin Wei deliberately prepared a sleek black suit to wear and asked Shiryu to wear black the following day, hinting at a special plan. On the day of the celebrity event, Shiryu and Fay Fay, dressed in elegant attire, joined by Ruan, who had arrived earlier. During their conversation, Lin Wei appeared, looking dashing in his black suit. Seeing him like this for the first time, Shiryu was both surprised and mesmerized. As he approached, Lin Wei softly whispered to Shiryu that she looked stunning, but added teasingly that she shouldn't dress like that too often. Feeling flustered yet playful, Shiryu joked that Lin Wei must have come just to keep an eye on her. Lin Wei smiled, admitting that he was also there to make sure Shiryu didn't steal her attention. When it was time to enter the hall, Ruan chose to wait outside for her boss. Her boss turned out to be Zheng Zong, who was also her date for the event. The day before, Zheng Zong, freshly returned from a business trip, had taken Ruan to dinner, where he brought up the topic of their relationship. During that dinner, Zheng Zong had finally asked Ruan to be his girlfriend, a proposal she had long awaited. However, Zheng Zong then remarked that they would make a perfect match for marriage, explaining that, as his longtime assistant, Ruan was someone he was already familiar with, and it made sense to choose someone he knew well. Hearing this, Ruan felt disappointed and upset. With a touch of sarcasm, she suggested that if Zheng Zong only wanted comfort and familiarity, he might as well marry the objects around him that had also been with him for years. Later, Ruan sought out Shiryu to vent her frustrations. During their conversation, Ruan received a call from the police informing her that Zheng Zong was involved in a serious altercation and someone had been critically injured and taken to the hospital. Panicked, Ruan rushed to the police station, where an officer explained the situation. However, Zheng Zong suddenly appeared behind her, casually stating that he was fine and that no one had died. Overwhelmed with relief and anger, Ruan shoved him out of frustration. Zheng Zong quickly calmed her down, reassuring her as she trembled from the scare. To make up for the incident, Zheng Zong surprised Ruan with a brand new dress. Though initially delighted, Ruan couldn't help but question how Zheng Zong knew her size. Zheng Zong nonchalantly replied that he knew the sizes of all his employees. This response left Ruan slightly annoyed despite her earlier joy. In reality, Zheng Zong had wanted Ruan to wear the dress to accompany him to the celebrity event as his date. This heartfelt gesture deeply touched Ruan, finally bringing clarity and progress to their relationship. At the event, Fay Fay and Shiryu arrived together. They soon encountered Chun Xiang, who began mocking Shiryu by saying that her life seemed dull, filled only with posts about rural life and mingling with villagers. Shiryu calmly replied that if someone had too much free time, they shouldn't waste it meddling in others' lives. Unable to come up with a response, Chun Xiang stormed off in frustration. As Chun Xiang walked away, someone accidentally bumped into her. Instead of accepting their apology, Chun Xiang seized the opportunity to verbally attack them, even though they offered compensation. She arrogantly declared that people of low status shouldn't attend the same events as her. Adding insult to injury, she boasted about her 30 million followers, claiming it was enough to prove her superiority. Her arrogance caused those around her to shake their heads in disapproval as she walked away in a huff. Shortly after, Shuyu made a stunning entrance. Greeting Fay Fay and Shuyu warmly, his polished appearance left both women momentarily speechless. Shuyu then invited them to meet a few friends. Fay Fay, who had developed feelings for Shuyu, could only watch wistfully as Shuyu walked away with Shuyu. Despite her disappointment, Fay Fay tried to conceal her emotions. Meanwhile, after seeing Shuyu's recent social media posts, her mother decided to make the long journey to meet her prospective son-in-law. With great excitement, Shuyu's mother declared she needed to meet him immediately. When a young man stood outside the house, she enthusiastically exclaimed that she liked him, only to be told that he wasn't the right person. Shuyu pointed to Lin Wei, explaining that he was her actual partner. Shuyu's mother was shocked, momentarily mistaking Lin Wei for a monk because of his simple demeanor. Her visit was spurred by the official announcement of Lin Wei's and Shuyu's relationship at the celebrity event, which quickly became a hot topic among journalists. However, Lin Wei's financial background, his restrictions and debts, was also exposed, leading to critical headlines. Additionally, Chen Xiang ridiculed Lin Wei, calling him a fake rich kid due to his debts outweighing his assets. Despite the taunts, Shuyu remained unfazed, confident in her relationship. Fortunately, Shuyu and Fay Fay stepped in to defend them, helping the couple navigate the awkward situation. As reporters swarmed the venue, Chen Xiang initially assumed the attention was for her. However, the journalists blatantly ignored her, leaving her feeling utterly humiliated. Thanks to Shuyu's and Fay Fay's intervention, the group managed to escape. Back at home, Shuyu decided to proudly showcase her relationship on social media. Lin Wei held her phone while their hands intertwined, and Shuyu added a sweet caption before posting it. The heartwarming post piqued Shuyu's mother's curiosity, compelling her to visit. During her journey, Shuyu's mother faced several misfortunes, including twisting her ankle and breaking her high heels. Despite the challenges, she stopped at a temple to pray, wishing her daughter would find a partner who would love and protect her. When Shuyu's mother met Lin Wei at the temple, she unknowingly handed him her donation money, not realizing he was her daughter's boyfriend. After learning Lin Wei was the man Shuyu had chosen, her initial reaction was disappointment. She questioned why her daughter didn't choose the tall, handsome, and distinguished man she had noticed earlier. Mistakenly believing Lin Wei was a monk, she expressed her discontent. However, Shuyu clarified that Lin Wei wasn't a monk but a tea farmer living in the mountains. Upon hearing that Lin Wei didn't have a stable job and only rented a wooden house, Shuyu's mother grew even more concerned. With a sharp tone, she asked how Lin Wei, who couldn't even fully support himself, could possibly make Shuyu happy. She also questioned whether Shuyu planned to live in a wooden house for the rest of her life. But Shuyu calmly replied that she was content with her current life. Her mother's dissatisfaction escalated, prompting her to summon Shuyu to learn how the relationship began. Shuyu truthfully explained that it was Shuyu who had persistently pursued Lin Wei from the start. This revelation didn't sit well with Shuyu's mother, who then began asking awkward questions about whether Shuyu and Lin Wei had held hands or kissed. Feeling increasingly uncomfortable, Shuyu found an excuse to leave. Later, Shuyu approached Fay Fay for advice on how to win Shuyu's heart. However, Fay Fay, who had secretly developed feelings for Shuyu, advised him not to interfere with Shuyu's relationship with Lin Wei. Meanwhile, Lin Wei worked tirelessly to win over Shuyu's mother. While Shuyu was at work, Lin Wei took her mother on a tour of the village, introducing her to the local community and showing her the charm of their simple life. During the visit, Shuyu's mother overheard villagers talking about Lin Wei's financial troubles. Checking this information on her phone, she was shocked to learn that Lin Wei was heavily in debt. This only deepened her conviction that Lin Wei was unsuitable for her daughter. The situation became increasingly tense as emotions and conflicting interests clashed. Despite her mother's objections, Shuyu remained firm in her decision, and Lin Wei was determined to prove himself. Shuyu's mother hoped Lin Wei would give up, convinced that life in the village was unfit for her daughter. However, Lin Wei resolutely declared that giving up was not an option. This statement angered Shi Yu's mother further, as she believed her daughter deserved a more comfortable life in the city. Shi Yu tried to explain that Lin Wei was not the hopeless man her mother imagined. She shared that Lin Wei had once had a successful career before choosing to live in the village. Despite her efforts to defend Lin Wei, the tension only escalated. Frustrated and disappointed, Shi Yu's mother decided to leave. On her way down the mountain, she slipped and injured her leg. By coincidence, Shi Yu passed by and immediately came to her aid. When he asked what had happened, Shi Yu's mother recounted the argument she had with her daughter. Shi Yu, who secretly harbored feelings for Shi Yu, tried to calm her by speaking positively about Lin Wei, highlighting his good qualities and determination. Shi Yu's mother, noticing Shi Yu's lingering feelings for her daughter, directly asked if he had romantic feelings for Shi Yu. At that moment, Shi Yu admitted his feelings, which delighted Shi Yu's mother. From that moment, she began to see Shi Yu as a more suitable match for her daughter. Eager to know more, she invited Shi Yu to accompany her back home, taking the opportunity to ask questions about his family. Upon learning that Shi Yu's family owned a successful video platform business, her confidence in him as the perfect candidate for Shi Yu solidified. In her mind, Shi Yu and Shi Yu could complement each other as an ideal couple. Encouraging Shi Yu to pursue her daughter, she even started plotting ways to push Lin Wei out of the picture. On the other side, Lin Wei felt immense pressure. Despite the mounting challenges, he deeply loved Shi Yu and refused to give up. Knowing Shi Yu's mother only wanted the best for her, Lin Wei recognized her concerns but believed he could provide Shi Yu with the happiness she deserved. Determined not to lose Shi Yu, Lin Wei searched for ways to win over her mother while holding onto his love. One morning, Shi Yu's mother invited her for a shopping trip, attempting to lighten her daughter's mood. Though Shi Yu reluctantly joined, her mind was elsewhere. During their trip, her mother enthusiastically selected a beautiful dress for Shi Yu. Afterward, they headed to a restaurant for lunch. Upon arriving at the restaurant, Shi Yu was startled to see Shi Yu already seated there. When she turned to question her mother, she realized her mother had left without a word. Confused, Shi Yu wondered about her mother's intentions. With polite composure, Shi Yu pulled out a chair for her and invited her to sit. He suggested they at least enjoy the meal together since they were already there. However, Shi Yu couldn't ignore how different Shi Yu looked in his formal suit, making the situation feel unusual. During dinner, Shi Yu boldly asked Shi Yu not to see him as just a friend for that night. Despite his serious tone, Shi Yu firmly replied that their relationship was strictly friendship and nothing more. When she asked how he wanted her to treat him, Shi Yu shocked her by saying he wanted to be seen as a man. Shi Yu felt awkward upon hearing this. Finally, Shi Yu revealed the truth. The meeting had been orchestrated by her mother, who hoped to pair them together and distance Shi Yu from Lin Wei. Stunned, Shi Yu immediately clarified that while Shi Yu was a cherished friend and colleague, her heart belonged to Lin Wei. Respecting her mother's request, she had agreed to the dinner but had always been clear about her feelings. For Shi Yu, the dinner was also an opportunity to close the chapter on his one-sided feelings for Shi Yu. After the conversation, they both relaxed and finished the meal amicably. Upon returning home, Shi Yu handed over a collection of photos and memories he had gathered over the years with Shi Yu to Lin Wei. With a bittersweet smile, Shi Yu asked Lin Wei to cherish and care for Shi Yu. Lin Wei's reserved demeanor only made the farewell harder for Shi Yu, marking the end of his unspoken hopes and the beginning of his acceptance. Meanwhile, the tension between Shi Yu and her mother escalated after the previous incident. Her mother felt upset, accusing Shi Yu of acting recklessly and refusing to listen to reason. In her frustration, she decided to leave that very night. Her sudden decision did not go unnoticed by Lin Wei, who was tending to the tea plants at the time. When he realized that Shi Yu's mother intended to leave in the middle of the night, especially as rain began to pour, Lin Wei couldn't stand idly by. Despite her insistence on leaving, Lin Wei followed her with an umbrella in hand, determined to escort her safely. Lin Wei boldly stated that no matter what her mother did, it would not change his resolve to maintain his relationship with Shi Yu. Even as he became drenched in the rain, he refused to give up. Touched by his persistence, Yu's mother's heart began to soften. Although she called Lin Wei foolish for his actions, she eventually relented and invited him to take shelter inside the tea house. Inside the tea house, Yu's mother questioned Lin Wei about why he loved her daughter. Lin Wei replied sincerely, explaining that Yu was a passionate, kind-hearted person who always thought of others and valued her friendships deeply. Her mother was impressed that Lin Wei seemed to understand Yu even better than she did as a parent. This realization led her to finally accept Lin Wei as her daughter's partner, despite his humble background as a tea farmer. She resolved to no longer interfere in their relationship. At dawn, Yu's mother left behind a letter and departed quietly. Motivated by the encounter, Lin Wei decided to cultivate Lixiang tea on a larger scale, not only to honor his late mother's wishes, but also to secure a better future for the village. Above all, he wanted to ensure that Yu would never have to struggle while by his side. The villagers, inspired by his determination, rallied to support his plan and began working hard to make it a reality. Elsewhere, Yu became more involved in assisting the village. When the village head started a live stream to promote local products, the villagers eagerly jostled to appear on camera. The village head even borrowed Yu's phone to continue the broadcast from the tea house. Seeing Yu sweating from the effort, Fay Fay suddenly appeared and kindly offered him a tissue to wipe his face. The unexpected gesture made Yu slightly awkward, prompting him to insist he could manage on his own. Fay Fay, however, kept watching him intently, making Yu find an excuse to leave. As Yu walked away, the village head remained engrossed in the live stream. Although the viewer count began to drop, the village head speculated that there might be a network issue. Just then, Lin Wei appeared carrying a hoe, ready to resume his work for the betterment of the village and the people he cherished. The village head called Lin Wei over to join the broadcast. To everyone's surprise, Lin Wei's presence on camera caused the viewership to skyrocket. Seeing the overwhelming response, Yu and Yu devised a plan to make Lin Wei the host of future live streams to boost the sales of village products. Initially, the idea worked wonders, with many viewers placing orders for Lixiang tea saplings. However, things took a dark turn when negative comments began to flood in, accusing Lin Wei of exploiting his mother's death for personal gain. Yu quickly investigated the profiles behind the comments and discovered they were from newly created accounts, hinting at an orchestrated effort to defame Lin Wei. It became clear that someone was working behind the scenes to sabotage their success. The following day, during a village meeting, Yu made the decision to no longer involve Lin Wei in live broadcasts. She explained that their goal was to build an account with its own unique identity, not one reliant on appearances. Lin Wei, unaware of the true reason, questioned this decision. Deep down, Yu was worried that Lin Wei would become the target of viewer attacks during the broadcasts. Yu's fears were confirmed when Lin Wei's name suddenly trended on social media, accompanied by numerous negative comments targeting him. The situation became even worse when the stock of the coffee company affiliated with their efforts plummeted significantly. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Yu immediately went to look for Lin Wei. However, Lin Wei had left the village without notifying anyone. Yu noticed something suspicious about Lin Wei's trending status on social media, given the unusually low number of comments compared to the level of attention the topic had gained. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that someone had paid to escalate the issue artificially. The mastermind behind this was Zheng Zong, who had harbored a long-standing grudge against Lin Wei. Apparently, Zheng Zong wanted to sabotage Lin Wei's efforts to cultivate tea on the land behind the village, as he feared its success would thwart his own plans. Working in collaboration with Xing Chun, Zheng Zong orchestrated this scheme to undermine Lin Wei. As a result, Lin Wei became untraceable, even avoiding the grave of his late mother, where he would often find solace. When Yu and director Lin returned home, they were shocked to find a large crowd of journalists waiting outside, eager to get a statement about Lin Wei. The scene underscored how the conflict had spiraled out of control, placing Lin Wei's mission to bring progress to the village in jeopardy. After struggling through the throng of reporters, Yu and director Lin managed to enter the house. Inside, they learned that Lin Wei had gone to meet his uncle, Zheng Zong. For years, Lin Wei had chosen to remain silent and not retaliate against his uncle's actions. However, this time, Lin Wei could not stay quiet after discovering that Zheng Zong had exploited the tragedy of his mother's death for personal gain. Despite his contentious history with Lin Wei, Zheng Zong had never intended to use the death of Lin Wei's mother, his own sister, for selfish purposes. When Zheng Zong realized that the situation had been orchestrated by Xing Chun without his approval, he immediately ordered the removal of the trending news. However, Xing Chun, driven purely by profit, refused to comply. The situation spiraled further out of control, leaving Zheng Zong powerless to stop it. Bai Ruan, who learned about Zheng Zong's actions, was deeply disappointed. She viewed Zheng Zong as selfish, willing to sacrifice family bonds for his own benefit. Unable to accept such behavior, Bai Ruan decided to end their relationship, leaving Zheng Zong to face the consequences of his choices alone. Meanwhile, Shi Yu and the others faced relentless journalists who had surrounded the house and even set up tents on the mountain, waiting for Lin Wei to make a statement. Shi Yu and Fay Fay also arrived to offer their assistance. Although their presence provided some hope, the growing number of journalists only worsened the situation. Realizing there was no point in delaying, Shi Yu decided to confront the journalists directly. With extraordinary courage, Shi Yu challenged them to provide evidence for their accusations. She asked if any of them had actually witnessed the events they were reporting or if they were simply spreading false information. Firmly, Shi Yu warned that she would take legal action if the defamation continued. During this tense confrontation, Lin Wei finally appeared. The journalists swarmed him with questions, accusing him of deliberately avoiding the situation. Lin Wei faced immense pressure, while Shi Yu and the others prepared to support him in fighting the wave of public opinion and restoring his family's name. This conflict tested not only their relationship, but also their loyalty and courage to face obstacles together. Fortunately, the village chief and the villagers arrived just in time to drive the journalists out of the village. With deep gratitude, Lin Wei thanked everyone for their help. However, the issues at hand were far from resolved. A villager informed them that a large number of cars and journalists had gathered at the village entrance. This left everyone confused about what to do next. To prevent further involvement of the villagers in the matter, Lin Wei decided to temporarily go into hiding. Lin Wei took Shi Yu to a villa owned by a friend, hoping to escape the overwhelming pressure of the situation. However, Lin Wei soon realized that things would not be as simple as he had hoped. Meanwhile, Director Lin, unable to tolerate Zheng Zong's treatment of his son, decided to confront him directly. Speaking in a firm tone, Director Lin declared that as long as he was alive, Zheng Zong would not be able to harm Lin Wei. Zheng Zong, however, responded with a mocking tone, questioning how long Director Lin could protect his son given his worsening health. In the heat of the moment, Director Lin collapsed on the spot. After being examined by a doctor, it was revealed that his health had deteriorated significantly. The doctor warned Zheng Zong not to worsen the situation, as the patient was already suffering from a tumor that required intensive care. Elsewhere, while spending time with Shi Yu, Lin Wei received a call informing him that his father had been hospitalized. Upon hearing the news, Lin Wei immediately rushed to the hospital. Overcome with anger, Lin Wei confronted Zheng Zong directly, grabbing him by the collar. Lin Wei firmly warned that if Zheng Zong continued to escalate the situation, he would not hold back any longer. In the hospital room, Director Lin remained unconscious, lying weakly on the hospital bed. Lin Wei's decision to avoid the journalists had led him and Shi Yu to a temporary hideout. There, Lin Wei felt it was finally time to share the truth about his mother. The scene then showing 5 years ago, when Lin Wei's mother faced severe financial difficulties with her cafe business. She sought Lin Wei's help, but at the time, he was deeply occupied with critical work matters and had to leave for an urgent business trip. He promised to return as soon as he finished his assignment. On the day Lin Wei planned to return, Xing Chen intercepted him and forced him to attend an emergency meeting regarding a pressing company issue. As an investor under immense pressure, Lin Wei had no choice but to prioritize resolving the crisis. Unbeknownst to him, his mother was struggling at home, bearing the overwhelming burden alone. Lin Wei's delayed response to his mother's plea became a regret that haunted him deeply. She tried seeking help from others, but no one was willing to lend a hand. In desperation, she called Lin Wei again, but at that moment, Lin Wei did not have his phone with him. When she attempted to contact director Lin, her call went unanswered as he was also engrossed in work. Eventually, the immense stress took its toll on Lin Wei's mother, causing her to collapse. By the time Lin Wei noticed the missed calls and rushed back, it was too late. His mother had passed away, leaving a void of deep regret in his life. Lin Wei's uncle blamed him for his mother's death, questioning why he didn't immediately agree to invest in her business or at least answer her calls. Lin Wei was consumed with guilt, but explained that he had been bound by a contract with his business partners, which strictly prohibited investments in family ventures. However, his explanation carried no weight anymore, as the tragedy had already occurred. This lingering pain became a heavy burden Lin Wei carried for years, one that he finally revealed to the public as a way to share the truth. To honor his mother, Lin Wei recorded a heartfelt video apology and explained that his mission to plant tea in the mountains was his way of paying tribute to her memory. Meanwhile, director Lin's health deteriorated further. His long-standing illness had worsened, and it was revealed that he had undergone 3 surgeries without informing Lin Wei. Having already lost his mother, Lin Wei resolved to ensure he wouldn't lose his father as well. He made the decision to dedicate himself fully to caring for him. On another front, Shiyu's company, Shiguang, began to see remarkable growth and secured a significant investment from Shiyu's family business. However, this investment came with a condition. Shiguang had to relocate its headquarters to Beijing, leaving their current location as a mere branch office. This decision placed Shiyu in a difficult position. Moving to Beijing was a step toward fulfilling her dreams, but it also meant leaving Lin Wei, especially when his father was critically ill. After much discussion with Lin Wei, she was encouraged to seize the opportunity. Lin Wei assured her that he would always wait for her return. Though it was a heavy decision, Shiryu ultimately decided to go, but not without handling some unfinished business first. Before her departure, Shiryu visited Zheng Zong at Howei Coffee. She recognized that despite the many conflicts between them, both Zheng Zong and Lin Wei shared the same intention to protect and provide for their families. Though often misunderstood and caught up in disputes, this meeting marked the first step toward mending their strained relationship and opening the door to future collaboration and peace. It became clear that Zheng Zong and Lin Wei had the same goal: to help the village fulfill the final wish of Lin Wei's late mother and ensure a better life for its residents. The only difference lay in how they chose to approach the goal. Before leaving the village, Shiryu handed over Lin Wei's mother's investigation notes to Zheng Zong. She explained that the reason Lin Wei didn't invest in his mother's Howei Coffee was due to a contractual agreement prohibiting investments in family businesses. Shiryu felt Zheng Zong deserved to know the truth, even though Lin Wei had chosen not to disclose it himself. As Zheng Zong discovered an old photo of 4 people, with a note from Lin Wei's mother on the back that read, "These are the most important people in my life. I hope they live well," he was reminded of happier memories from the past. This reflection softened his heart, leading him to let go of his grudge and return to the village to mend broken ties. Shortly after, Zheng Zong visited his gravely ill brother-in-law and promised to share the responsibility of caring for him with Lin Wei. During this heartfelt moment, Zheng Zong revealed that the root of the conflict involving Lin Wei's mother was Xing Chun. However, Lin Wei had long since forgiven Xing Chun and did not want to dwell on it. This reconciliation marked a new beginning for both sides. Elsewhere, Fay Fay learned that Shiryu would soon leave for Beijing with Shiryu. Fay Fay's emotions were mixed, as she had been harboring feelings for Shiryu. Despite dropping hints through subtle words, Shiryu remained oblivious to her feelings. Too shy to confess directly, Fay Fay kept her emotions bottled up. Time was running out, and the day of departure arrived. Everyone gathered to bid farewell, but Fay Fay had yet to express her feelings. Sensing this, Shiryu, who had been worried all along, urged her to take action. Shiryu emphasized that Shiryu wouldn't wait for Fay Fay's 5-year plan. He needed clarity now. Finally, Shiryu encouraged Fay Fay to speak with Shiryu before it was too late. Summoning her courage, Fay Fay pulled Shiryu aside for a private conversation, knowing it might be her only chance. She confessed her feelings with the help of a few books as symbolic gestures of her heart. Fay Fay told Shuyu that she liked him and couldn't wait for 5 years, 3 years, or even 2 years. She needed to express her emotions now. However, the sudden confession caught Shuyu off guard. Although Shuyu knew that Shuyu was now with Lin Wei, he had not fully moved on from his own feelings. Apologetically, Shuyu expressed that he couldn't respond to her feelings just yet. Fay Fay had anticipated this outcome, but assured Shuyu that she was willing to wait until he could let go of his past. Meanwhile, after a month of being away on business, Shuyu unexpectedly appeared at Lin Wei's door. Lin Wei's joy at reuniting with her was interrupted when villagers arrived and began chatting endlessly. Initially thinking they would leave after a brief greeting, Lin Wei grew frustrated as the conversation dragged on. It wasn't until Shuyu politely reminded them that she had just returned from Beijing and needed rest that the villagers finally left. However, just as Lin Wei and Shuyu were about to enjoy some time alone, another knock came at the door. This time, it was Fay Fay, who couldn't resist asking about Shuyu's well-being in Beijing. Annoyed, Shuyu told Fay Fay to go to Beijing if she wanted to meet Shuyu, rather than continually interrupting. After the disruptions ended, Lin Wei and Shuyu finally enjoyed a happy reunion. Following a month of long-distance challenges, they were thrilled to be together again. Lin Wei integrated Zhengzong's Haowei coffee business with his Lixiang tea project, creating new opportunities for the future. The relationship between Zhengzong and Lin Wei improved significantly, with Zhengzong finally acknowledging Lin Wei as his nephew. For the first time in years, the entire family sat down for a warm dinner together. The meal was special, as it was prepared by the family themselves, adding a touch of intimacy to the gathering. As Lin Wei's business began to stabilize, his father started urging him to provide grandchildren. However, Lin Wei felt that he had only just started to make progress in his life. He reassured his father that there was no need to rush, a sentiment supported by his uncle. His uncle remarked that a man should prioritize building his career first. The next morning, Zhengzong approached Bai Ruan under the pretense of discussing work. However, Bai Ruan's indifferent attitude irritated him, especially when Qinxiang brought a chair for Zhengzong, further fueling her annoyance. Frustrated, Bai Ruan pulled Zhengzong into a private room to talk. 2 years passed, and the hills of the village were now covered with flourishing Lixiang tea plants. The village even had its own production line, and the tea sales were remarkably successful. Lin Wei had fulfilled his mother's dream by improving the welfare of the villagers. Together with Shuyu, Lin Wei brought this joyful news to his mother's grave. At that moment, Lin Wei proudly stated that not only had they succeeded in cultivating Lixiang tea, but he had also found a wonderful daughter-in-law for his mother. However, Shuyu felt a lingering dissatisfaction. Despite being together for so long, Lin Wei had yet to propose. Many of their friends, even younger ones, were already married with children. Determined to push Lin Wei into action, Shuyu enlisted the help of those around her to pressure him. When someone asked Lin Wei about his age, he replied that he was 28. Lin Wei explained that everyone has their own pace in life, which only made Shuyu more irritated. Around the same time, Fay Fay called with joyful news that she had been proposed to and would soon be getting married. Hearing this, Shuyu grew even angrier. She pointed out to Lin Wei how quickly others acted, glaring at him for being so slow. Frustrated, Shuyu decided to teach Lin Wei a lesson. She began packing her belongings, intending to leave the house as a warning for Lin Wei to take their relationship more seriously. Just as Shuyu was about to leave, she stumbled upon Lin Wei setting up a proposal scene. Although the preparations weren't complete, the romantic atmosphere, with carefully arranged candles, was already evident. Lin Wei, looking nervous, mumbled to himself that everything wasn't perfect yet and wondered if he should postpone the proposal. However, Shuyu, who had seen everything, couldn't help but smile. Deciding not to wait any longer, Shuyu stepped in. Lin Wei gently took her hand and led her to the center of the candlelit decorations, hastily completing his preparations. With heartfelt sincerity, Lin Wei began his proposal. He expressed how Shuyu's presence had brought color to his life, and that he wanted to share all the joys and challenges of life with her. Lin Wei then asked Shuyu if she would marry him. Overwhelmed with emotion, Shiryu immediately said yes. They exchanged warm smiles, and as they were about to share their first kiss as an engaged couple, a group of villagers suddenly appeared. The neighbors had gathered enthusiastically, believing such a significant moment should not happen without their presence. Although initially startled, the atmosphere quickly turned joyous as the villagers offered their blessings and congratulations to the newly engaged couple. The story concluded with a heartwarming celebration filled with happiness. Moral lesson from the story: don't assume the world revolves around you. Even a chicken crossing the road might steal your spotlight. Also, love is like tea, bitter at first, but it gets better with the right brew and patience.